a mystery you can't unsee. Let's start with something that should not happen. Take a few grains of pollen, suspend them in water, place them under a microscope. They jitter, they twitch, they change direction violently, as if something invisible is pushing them, almost like they're alive. Now repeat the same experiment with finely ground rock dust. No biology, no metabolism, no life. And yet, the same motion appears. So here is the first uncomfortable question. If lifeless matter moves like it's alive, what exactly is doing the pushing? And the second question is even worse. If the cause is invisible, how do we know it's real and not just a convenient story? Because this single phenomenon doesn't just raise curiosity. It challenges one of the deepest assumptions in science. Do atoms actually exist? Or are they simply the most successful fiction ever created? The motion that refused to behave. This strange jittering motion deeply disturbed scientists when it was first studied seriously. It was real, it was repeatable, and it stubbornly refused to behave. Every obvious explanation failed. Tiny currents? Eliminated. Temperature gradients? Controlled. Vibrations? Removed. Optical illusion? Ruled out. And still, the motion remained. But patterns began to emerge. Smaller particles jittered more violently than larger ones. Higher temperatures increased the agitation. Lower viscosity fluids made the motion stronger. Every trend pointed in the same direction. Not toward life, not toward biology, but toward the microscopic, toward something unseen. The idea slowly formed that suspended particles were being struck by invisible constituents of the fluid itself. But at the time, this explanation carried a dangerous assumption that atoms were real, and that was far from settled. The 2,000-year argument nobody could end. For more than 2,000 years, humanity argued about the nature of matter. Some claimed matter must be made of indivisible units. Others insisted matter was continuous, infinitely divisible. And for centuries, the continuous view dominated. Even in the 19th century, critics still argued, atoms are not real objects. They are mathematical tools, useful approximations. And here's the uncomfortable part. A model that works is not automatically true. Prediction is not proof. So the debate persisted until something extraordinary happened. A visible object began responding to an invisible world. And for the first time, reality could be forced to answer. The key shift: stop predicting paths. Here's the problem with Brownian motion. Watch a single particle and you see pure chaos. No pattern, no repetition, no predictability. Every trajectory is different. And that tempts us to say, there is no law here. But randomness does not mean lawlessness. The breakthrough came when scientists stopped asking about individual paths and started asking about statistics. Imagine a simple experiment. You stand on a straight road. Every second, you flip a coin. Heads, you step forward. Tails, you step backward. No memory, no strategy, pure chance. This is called a random walk. And it captures the statistical essence of Brownian motion. Because a particle in a fluid is doing the same thing, taking countless tiny random steps due to invisible collisions. Order emerging from noise. Now imagine not one walker, but hundreds, all starting at the same point, all following the same rules. Some drift left, some drift right. Instead of tracking individuals, we track the population. We divide space into bins. We count how many walkers end up in each region. A distribution emerges. Two features stand out immediately. First, it is symmetric around zero. Forward and backward steps cancel on average, which means the average position stays centered, even while everything moves. But here's the key insight. The physics is not in the average. The physics is in the spread. So we square the displacement for moving direction and average it. And something remarkable appears. The mean squared displacement grows linearly with the number of steps. And since steps scale with time, we arrive at a law. This is not philosophy. This is measurement. But one question remains. What determines D? The trapdoor into the atomic world. A descriptive law is not enough. If atoms are real, the diffusion coefficient must depend on measurable properties. Temperature, viscosity, particle size, and here's the clever move. Introduce an external force, not to measure it, but to create equilibrium. Two competing effects appear. A drift current pushing particles with the force, a diffusion current smoothing out concentration differences. In equilibrium, they must cancel. This balance becomes the hinge of the entire argument. Drift versus diffusion. A particle in a viscous fluid accelerates only briefly. Drag quickly balances the applied force. At terminal speed, the forces are equal. As a particle moves through a viscous fluid, it experiences drag. At terminal speed, the applied force is exactly balanced. From this, drift velocity emerges. Diffusion flows down concentration gradients. When drift and diffusion cancel, the external force disappears from the final result. And what remains is extraordinary. The diffusion coefficient expressed purely in terms of measurable quantities. Counting the invisible. Now everything snaps into place. Mean squared displacement equals 2d times time. D is expressed in lab measurements. Only one unknown remains. A number so large feels unreal. But it is not a guess. Not a fit, it is a count. a conversion factor between the visible and invisible worlds. Atoms were no longer optional. They were unavoidable. And yet, we never saw an atom, we saw its shadow. So ask yourself, is that proof of reality? Or proof of the power of models? At what point does prediction turn into belief? And how many things today do we call real? Only because we no longer know how to doubt them? Brownian motion looks like chaos. But inside that chaos is structure. And that structure forced science to admit something it resisted for centuries. If this kind of deep, honest exploration matters to you, please like the video and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And one last question. Do we know atoms exist? Or have we simply built the most convincing explanation we've ever had?